Please listen carefully.
Welcome back to the Focus Target Podcast. This is season 3, episode 81. I am your 81. I thought we did 83 last time. Is that not
We
true?
did 80
we get our
last time,
numbers
didn't we?
wrong? Did we?
Maybe we should start
Boy,
over.
maybe I had a dream.
I
No,
could
we're going to
stop
keep this
this.
in. It's fine. It's all good. Episode 81 of the Focus Target Podcast. I am your host, Smiley. With me today, surprise, surprise, it's Van and Shy, and Van's now switching from his office, from the Focus Target background to his office.
Is
We
that
are
better?
streaming
Miniature.
live.
Is that better?
Like you're an ant in a giant office.
I feel like I need my eyes checked. It's a little bit blurry.
Depth of field, man. Depth of field.
It's blurry on purpose, bro. So I could be the
I know.
focus target
Yeah, the focused target.
podcast.
So yeah, we're streaming. We're streaming live on Twitch. This will also go to the normal podcast locations afterwards. So we are a little bit early. I mean, probably we kind of got started early today. We really should be trying to do this at the same time every week, so people know when to tune in if they want to join us live. So sorry for anybody who comes in 30 minutes expecting us at the top of the hour. We're still kind of working out the kinks here. This whole stream podcasting thing. But anyway, here we are, podcast focus target time. What's good with you guys? Shy, Van, how are things going?
Things are going well.
Come on.
Any notable occurrences in your life lately?
Anything
Yeah,
new?
yeah. It's been a crazy day. What about was it at the top of the last hour? Was it 6 o'clock about when Van? I guess we had
Well,
I'm
it
not
depends on
gonna
where
leave the
you are
window,
in the
but,
country.
Oh yeah, that's correct. But about 40 minutes ago, Van notified Smiley and I that there was a drop of PS5 consoles coming to the Sony web store, and we all jumped in the queue. PlayStation Direct. We all jumped into the queue, assuming that we weren't going to get anything. Smiley had tried to pick up a bundle. What was that? A day or two ago from another online vendor.
That was from Newegg. Yeah.
And from Newegg, and through their Newegg shuffle, and didn't get picked. And we know we're competing against thousands of people, so the odds of getting anything are not in our favor, as you might say. But from the get-go, it seemed like my queue was going faster than your guys's, which I don't know if that's just an East Coast thing. You know what they say, best West Coast is the less coast. So it's probably
what they say.
Probably server bias. Sony's probably located in.
We're going to put you into a random queue, and they went random from east to west. That wouldn't surprise me at all.
But long story short, I was able to get in the store. Tried to pick up a PS5 disc version, and when I went to check out, it said it was out of stock. And so I assumed that both versions were out of stock at that point. Then went and added the digital version of my shopping cart. Took a while to enter all this information, shipping information, and all this stuff, and it still let me check out. So I have a confirmation email from Sony saying I bought a PS5 digital version, and we'll see if that it still feels kind of surreal. I still want to go in and see when the shipping date is and be able to see that information. So until I see that, I'm kind of holding it lightly. But
it'll be interesting to see how long it actually takes them to ship it to you. I definitely like an update on that, because it's like if you do win one of these, which is what it is now, it's like winning a lottery to get a PlayStation 5. Like, how long do you actually? Is it 6 to 8 weeks? Is it is it tomorrow? I wonder when it's going to come.
See, because they had estimated shipping times with them.
Oh, they did.
And there were two options. It was either standard, which it said I think it said 2 to 3 business days, and then there was expedited, which was 1 to 2. And the interesting thing, and I should have done this beforehand. I'm not subscribed to PS Plus right now, but if you were a PS Plus member, both options were free. So I ended up paying $13 for the standard shipping, which I could have saved that because I'm going to be buying PS Plus anyway. So that would have. But in the moment, there was no messing around. I didn't know that was going to be an option, and I didn't want to risk.
Well, now our listeners do know that's going to be an option. Speaking of options, there's going to be another option coming this Thursday. Apparently, the world has it on good authority that Amazon is planning on dropping 46,000 units or PlayStation units. So stay tuned and try to get one of those bad boys. I think they're being intentionally vague on the hour to prevent people from setting up their bots and all that stuff. But at least for right now, stay tuned. And we'll certainly be tweeting it out on the Focus Target Twitter as soon as we get a time as well. So
yeah, we can hope for the best on that. Yeah, and if you're still in the market for a PlayStation 5 of some denomination, best of luck to you. Shy is living proof today that good things can happen in this world. Just look at Shy.
Well, he's also a
Um,
Christian and we're not. Well, you're not.
maybe, perhaps,
As
perhaps there's some smiting going on here.
as Van pointed out, today is 3:16, and then Van made a reference to John 3:16. You missed this, Smiley. There were some deep theological conversations going on.
And how Shy, I entered the queue
Oh,
before him,
dear.
but he got in
Oh,
before
dear
me.
God.
It's not a coincidence. Like,
Yeah,
Um,
where some see coincidence, we see providence.
Nice. For the audience though, like you can look forward to some PS5 streaming in the future, hopefully, because we've been having some internal conversations. My PC is not doing that well these days, so if you did happen to check out the one stream I've tried so far, it was kind of a disaster. So I'm looking forward to be able to have a solid system to then stream games on.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, thanks for the update, Shy. Should we get into the actual podcast now? We've set the level. We got PS5s and computers on the way. Some of us already have computers set up, but there's podcasting to be done. And today we're going to start with our question of the day, as we like to do. Last week we had a little discussion about the afterlife and theology, and we talked a little bit about reincarnation, and so we thought it might be fun to do a little thought experiment here and say, if so, here's my question of the day for you: if you had to pick an animal to reincarnate each of your co-hosts into, which animal would it be, and why? I'm going to start, though I do so with great trepidation, with Van. Van, if you had to choose for an animal for Shy and I to be reincarnated into,
all right.
which would you choose and why?
Shy's was easy. Yours was a little more difficult.
Not surprising.
Shy would be an elephant, specifically from the
Oh,
Lord of the Rings.
an
Nice.
oily font.
yes,
With
an
a bunch of
elephant. Not-
barbarians on a thing on my back.
you nailed it. You got it. Only because
Okay.
of the great story that you always tell about you and Rido in college.
Right on.
Him riding me to victory.
Okay.
Yeah. And then
Excellent.
you, I was thinking the obvious choice was anteater, but I can't go into descriptions as to why. So maybe that'll be a behind the podcast one day.
Because I eat ants.
Right. And then the other one, I'm like, okay, well, he's kind of like cunning and sneaky, but a snake has like a negative connotation. So I'm with an eagle. Like an eagle pointed eagle eye hunter.
Great Lord of the Eagle.
The eagle,
Very
Gandalf's
good.
eagle, specifically from
That's
Lord
right.
of the Rings.
Quite Love that. That's nicer than I did to you. Well, I'm gonna go to myself then, just because it's relevant here. So I wanted you guys both. I felt like you guys were both apex predators, right? So for Shy, I went with the king of the jungle, a lion.
Ooh, I can see it.
I wanted him to have a good, the king. Everyone loves the king. Lions have good lives. They kind
He
of
can't wait to be
rule the
king.
savannah.
Yeah.
Can't wait to be king. Just watch out for your uncle. You'll be in good shape. So Van, I also want to be an apex predator, but what I didn't want was like for me to reincarnate them and then have them come into conflict and like maybe hurt each other. So I feel like if Shy's somewhere out in Africa, blessing the rains, I had to put Van kind of on the other side of the world. So I made Van an anaconda.
Ooh, I like it.
Big ass snake, kind of
Mhm.
basically in charge in the rainforests of Brazil. And
Very chill.
we all know that Van's anaconda don't want none unless you got buns.
I was gonna go there.
I went there before you could. So that's where I went. So sorry for picking a snake that has negative connotation, as you said, but
Yeah, it was kind of rude.
yeah, well, I'm rude, crude, and vile, as I say.
You're a rude
Shy,
eagle.
what do you got? Eagles
All
don't
right,
give.
so Van stole mine for you.
Oh my god,
I was
a
going to
honey
say an
badger.
eagle. I was going to say an eagle for Smiley.
Thank you.
I picked an
See?
eagle for myself. You guys know me so well. That's great.
But
Love to be an
I
eagle.
want to do a joke. I want to do a joke one instead, since he stole mine and I can't talk about it.
Fair enough.
So the first thing that came to mind was a velociraptor.
I like it.
I
I like it. You
love
should have
it.
went with
That's
that
what I
one.
would reincarnate you as a velociraptor.
Love the
Or-
velociraptor.
That's not really a thing.
It's a great
I don't know.
thing.
I don't know how I missed this one, but you could also be the demon horse.
Ooh, yeah, the Denver Demon Horse, the
Yep.
DIA.
Would have been a good one
Yeah,
too.
but see,
In
you
fact, I'm
don't
changing
joke
my
about the
answer.
demon horse. So you
You
don't
don't
even.
No,
I wouldn't bring
that's
that up.
blasphemous.
You don't want trouble next time you fly in. You know.
You're taking his name lightly, man.
That's right.
All right. So do not take the demon horse's name in vain. All right. Van.
It's pronounced
For
Van.
you, I was
People have died.
thinking. For you,
Look
I
it
was
up.
thinking a jaguar.
Hmm.
Because kind of like
Also in the
maybe
jungles.
not in the jungle. Very like agile and powerful, but also like I think we've talked about that you're kind of like more the smooth talker of the podcast, the charismatic one. And I don't know, like jaguars are just they kind of like smoothly kind of like
So,
prowl through
so
the jungle.
he'd be
And
less a jaguar and more of a jaguar.
Ooh, I like it. A jaguar,
Yeah.
as it were.
all right.
Mhm.
I don't think Shy agrees with us at
No?
all.
I don't know what I don't. Is that a reference to something?
No.
It's just that's the way you say the car.
It's just
like
suave.
The rich
Yeah,
person.
exactly.
Oh, really? All right. I've never heard
Jaguar.
I've never heard that pronounced that way. All right.
Like, listen to the Jaguar commercials. Like, we in Americans
Yeah.
just call it Jaguar, and they're always
All right.
like, "Oh, come over and purchase your Jaguar." You're like,
That's
"What?"
true. Yeah.
Check that out. We are not sponsored by Jaguar.
Mhm.
In case anybody's wondering.
We could be. They could hook us up with some boot. They could afford us. Let me tell you that.
So like, here's some hood ornaments for a Jaguar.
We'll
We
say
should
it
start a
right.
segment.
Unlike a lot of people in our country, we'll say it right for you on the commercial.
You know how most podcasts like say who they're sponsored by? We should start a segment where we talk about who we're not sponsored by. We'll put like EA, Jaguar,
Microsoft.
Microsoft.
The Minnesota Wild.
So,
The
Snakes.
New England Patriots.
Yeah.
Tom Brady.
Yeah. Or any of his enterprises. Yeah, absolutely true.
Oh,
All right. Well, if you are loyal listeners, do we have any comments, Van, in the chat today? No, nobody's chipping in on the question
No,
of the day.
we're good.
All right. Well, if you do have an idea, if you can think of a good thing that any or all of us should be reincarnated into, or if you'd like to tell us what you would like to be reincarnated into should such an afterlife await you, let us know. We'll have our contact information at the end of the show, and we'd love to hear from you. So let's get into the meat of the podcast. And today, as is appropriate, we've been a little bit streaming crazy lately, kind of trying to get into the whole streaming thing as a group. And so we thought maybe we'd do a little bit of a meta podcast on streaming and specifically how streaming has impacted our playing habits and our purchasing habits, if at all. So we've all done a little bit of streaming here in the last couple of days. I think we've all, for a little bit longer than that, been kind of watching streamers. It's really become a very popular thing. It's become a career for some people. Like people can actually make a living just streaming, which is something that's almost unheard of. Like if you think like 5-10 years ago, it is something that I think people thought was just kind of like a haha, what a fun thing, and now it's really kind of turned into a business, like a real legitimate business for a lot of people. So let's talk first, before we get into our actual streaming, let's talk about watching streams, which is where we all kind of got our start with it. My first question for you is, um, does watching streams, like what do you get out of streams? What kind of streams do you watch? And specifically, do you watch streams of games that you haven't played or don't play or otherwise wouldn't play? And how does that, like, does watching other people stream a game that maybe you've never tried or didn't think you would like, has it ever like changed your opinion or made you want to try something new? Let's start with Shy.
I don't know that I have an example. So I have a weird example, and it's tied to the streaming. It's tied to Twitch, but it's not really someone streaming a game. And so I have a
Okay.
question for you guys, kind of going along with this. Have you guys seen in any of the streams you've looked at something called Stream Raiders? It's like a Twitch like meta game that's tied to streaming.
Raiders or Raiders?
Stream Raiders, like you're doing a raid,
Like a Tomb Raider, but
raiding.
with stream in front of
Okay.
it.
like dungeon raiding, like dungeon
Right.
raiding kind of.
Okay.
And so
Gotcha.
there's like Twitch has, and I don't know if it's Twitch official, but it's definitely tied into Twitch. There's like this like Twitch meta game called Stream Raiders. That as a streamer you can incorporate into your stream, where like it's this whole other. It's like a game. It's a game. It's like a web game where basically you like level up heroes and like you all kind of like the streamer and his followers in real time will like add units to this battlefield, and then like there's a certain amount of like times you can add over a certain amount of time. like 30 minutes, and then eventually he starts the battle, you take part, you get rewards, and like he moves around this map basically. It's like almost like this conquest mode. And so um recently I was watching a lot of streams on War of the Visions. And so my answer, I guess, is that so far I haven't streaming hasn't really made me like make me want to play games that I haven't played, but it's more like reinforcing. I don't know if you guys are in the same boat, like, but I've watched streams about games I am playing to like see how other people are doing things, and really with War of the Visions, I was watching War of the Visions streams to see people how they were playing the game, what they were doing. But a lot of them were doing the Stream Raiders plugin as well, and I ended up getting really into Stream Raiders, and so I would actually go onto the Stream Raiders site and just like load up people's streams who I wasn't even watching, but just like participate in their, because it's like you have like an overall account that like, and you need to be watching streams, and per stream you're in, you can like add units. So like it's faster to like level up your heroes if like you're watching multiple streams at the same time. And so I like there was kind of this weird like meta, like I was playing a whole different game through like because of Twitch. I don't know. It's a weird
That is
convoluted
bizarre. I have
That
spot.
is
never heard of
But
that.
super bizarre.
Stream Raiders. So I guess my final comment would be there are streams. There's actually games I want to watch streamed that I've not taken the plunge on. But like there's games that I would be, I'm hesitant to play by myself, particularly in the horror genre. Like I think that like the Resident Evil 1 and 2 remakes look
Horror,
awesome,
right? Scare,
but
scary
horror,
yeah.
horror.
Just want
But
to be clear.
there's no way I'm going to sit in a room by myself and play through Resident Evil 1 or 2 because it's going to freak me out. And so I've thought about like trying to find like a full someone who's going to
Nice.
stream them, but it'd be fun to watch that stuff live. And I think it's hard to like find someone who's starting a playthrough, like, you know, finding them live and be able to stick with them. You know what I mean? Like I think that's one reason why I haven't done that.
Van, what about you?
Honestly, up until my insomnia night, I hadn't watched many streams at all. I just didn't ever get around to it or whatnot. But now I find myself watching streams all the time for a couple different reasons. So one of them is simply intelligence, to try to figure out what does it take, what are other streamers doing, popular streamers doing that makes them popular, right? What do they have a niche? Is there a common theme amongst these different popular streamers that make them popular and whatnot? So I'm trying to find those subtle niches, or niches, if you will, in what they're doing, to just, you know, emulate that a little more if it comes natural and we're able to bring our whole selves to the stream, because I think that's more important than anything than trying to be someone you're not, which I don't think any of us do, which is good. So one is for intelligence, research. I just want to figure out what's working and what doesn't. So I've been watching quite a few streams. And then I did find myself watching a lot of Deep Rock Galactic streams, because that's the game that I'm playing the most of right now, just to see if there's something I'm missing. Like when I know how I play Scout, you know, and one of my favorite classes, and I know how I play Gunner, but is somebody else playing it differently? Are there different things that I'm missing or whatnot? Can I improve that? And then the third thing I was thinking, so my priority of reasons for watching stream is one, research to get better at current games, but then three, eventually I do want to start watching streams of games that I have not purchased yet, to kind of see what the actual gameplay is like, as opposed to just a 1 minute teaser trailer that's going to show all the best thing and not really show you what gameplay is like, or the tempo or anything like that, or the tone of the game or whatnot. To rather watch somebody play a solid hour or so, hour and a half, of a game, in order to realize that that's a game that I feel is worth purchasing, as opposed to me figuring it out myself. That's not really that important to me. Plus, I'd also be afraid of like spoilers in those streams. But so right now, primarily research, and secondarily, how can I get better at Deep Rock Galactic?
Yeah, fair enough. I think from my point of view, I don't watch a whole lot of streams in general. I think I much more frequently will watch a YouTube video that somebody has posted afterwards, and that's why for me, I always try to make sure anything that I stream I put on YouTube, because I know I appreciate that. It's often hard for me to find things that I'm interested in going on live in the moment, and a lot of times if I don't know about it in advance, I don't like to jump into something in the middle. I'm definitely a start to finish type of person, and not everybody's like that. Some people can just kind of drop in and see what's going on, and take things piecemeal. But I like to see where things came from. I actually find it really annoying. Like a lot of times streamers will edit out parts of their runs and stuff that are, I don't know, for whatever reason, like boring or just kind of monotonous. But I don't like that. I like to see sometimes like how you got from point A to point B to point C. Um, and typically I don't spend a lot of time watching streams of games that I am unfamiliar with. I could see myself potentially. We got man.
Nothing.
Oh,
Trying to
sorry.
figure out where that thing is coming
Where the
from in the
cutoff
background
is.
camera.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, sorry. Gotcha. I thought you were raising your hand like I have a question for you. Uh,
Yes.
call on me, sir. Um, but I think there's definitely some potential for if there's a game that I was not maybe on the fence about and I wanted to see in action and kind of get a feel for it. I think I would definitely turn to a stream of that game. I think that'd be a great way to do it. But traditionally, I like to watch games that I'm familiar with and enjoy. Kind of the way that Van was talking about with Deep Rock, just like to see how other people approach it. I think that's interesting. Lately, I've been watching a lot of old like streams of like the like speed runs, like the world record speed runs for like Mario and Mario 3. I've really kind of been into that lately, just 'cause I think it's kind of interesting to see how some of these players play with such precision. Um, and that's kind of what inspired me to stream is I've been watching some people just like playing just some old school games that I enjoyed, and I thought that was really enjoyable. It was fun to watch them go through and play a game that maybe I hadn't played in a long time. um, and so that kind of inspired me to do something similar on my own. So um, but so far I would say I haven't I there haven't been any streams that I've watched that made me be like, oh, I gotta go get that game.
I want to, if I can, propose
Yeah,
a question to the group of something you said earlier. You were saying like, oh, 5 years ago, it's unfathomable that people would be quitting their jobs and becoming streamers full time and
right.
whatnot. Like,
Yeah.
so I want to ask the two of you, and we'll start with you, Smiley. Why do you think streaming is so popular? Like, why has it become a fad where people are willing to spend money or whatnot? Like, what is it about streaming that is so cool, that's so fun and enjoyable?
I don't know for sure. I think it's kind of baffling in a way. Um, but I think my guess would be that, you know, I know I feel this way about certain podcasts I've listened to or even radio shows I've listened to back in the past, where like you when you get to know somebody, you kind of feel like they're your friend in a way, like when you listen to somebody talk and they share their thoughts and their feelings with you, especially on a consistent basis, you kind of feel like you get to know them. And it's like I think of some of the even just like the shows that I've watched over time. Like I watched the PTI show, pardon the interruption, on ESPN. I either watched it or listened to the podcast that they have for just years and years. Every day I'd listen to them. Like that's how I got all my sports news. And I just loved listening to them. Like I respected their opinions. Still do. Don't mean to say it in the past tense, but like, I spent a lot of time listening to them, and over time, I felt like I really feel like, man, I feel like I know those guys, and I respect them, and um, I think that's what it is that you just spend time getting to know somebody really kind of vicariously through this medium, and it's like you want to support them, you want to you like what they're doing, and so I think we've talked about a little bit on the podcast in the past that you know people are can be very callous and cold to people they don't know, people that generalized person out there. But when you do connect with somebody and get to know them, like most people can be very giving and very generous and very attached to people once they feel like they know them. And I think that's the biggest thing is like the way streamers interact with their audience. It's more than just a podcast or a radio show. In a stream, they're chatting and they're talking back and forth, they're addressing people. I think that connection is what makes that possible. Well, what do you think, Shy? If
Yeah,
I
I
didn't
mean,
take all the
no,
answers.
I think you spelled it out perfectly. I think even the word like unfiltered comes to mind, like that idea that
Mm,
like unedited, like a TV show or a radio show is so like produced, and it's like talking
absolutely.
points and whatever. Like you spend 6 hours on a stream with someone, like you're getting just their thoughts and their reactions
Yeah.
and I think like you said, the interaction, like I think especially if you're a regular viewer, like the fact the streamer even maybe gets to know who you are. Like I've joined streams where like they're talking to the like certain people who've joined as if like they've been talking for weeks or months. Like, oh hey, did
Right.
you end up getting that PS5 you've been trying to get? You've been trying to get that for a while and you've been talking about it in chat. Like that kind of stuff. And so like you are building friendships and I think specifically even over the past year, just COVID, I think probably has a large, like obviously
Yeah, that
like
probably helps.
streaming was popular before COVID, but I think like even now more and more people are just like at home and looking for a way to entertain or connect with people. And that's probably one of the safest ways to connect with people right now.
Yeah, I'd agree
Yeah,
with both of you. I mean, great, fantastic points too, because on all the streams, the various streams I've been watching, like there is one common theme around all of them, and my previous perception or conception of streams was that it was just somebody playing a video game, right? And it was random viewers would just hop between different video games or whatnot, and that couldn't be further from the truth, is what I'm seeing. That it's not random viewers hopping; it's intentional viewers building a community around a streamer.
yes,
And when that streamer is
definitely.
offline, then maybe they might hop to another streamer, but it's a streamer they still know. It's not just a random video. And then, of course, you have your discovery ones. But for the most part, like you mentioned, it does seem like it's a community of viewers, with the streamer as like I don't know what you would
Focal
call it,
point.
but yeah, the
Yep.
focal point. And I've
The
seen that a
focus
thousand
target, if you
times.
will.
Like, oh, somebody will pop on and they're like, oh, hey, Stream Guy 42, how did your test go that you were telling me about last week or whatnot? It's like they really get to know them and all that stuff. And then when I chime in, because I try to support fellow streamers also, and then so I'll chat in there if like the chat's not really moving or something like that, and they're like, "Oh, hey, Race for Kicks, welcome. I haven't seen you before, and this and that," and they talk
Like,
out
who
loud and
are
try to
you?
get
Get out of
yeah.
here!
I don't
You're
know you.
not
You're
one
not
of us.
you're not
Get
part of
out
the
of here!
village. Yeah, but no, they'll like call you by name and they remember
Right.
who has been there and who hasn't and all that stuff. And I was like, yeah, that's kind of a cool little personal touch. So yeah,
Well,
I
I'm sure
completely
that
agree
I
with
mean
you.
the better streamers, I'm sure, do that. They take the time to make people feel welcome and try to not make it be a closed circle, but an open circle that the people can feel comfortable joining and getting involved in. I'm sure.
Yeah. I think the other thing that comes to mind as to why, and actually, I don't know, this won't describe why it's enjoyable, but I just remember like one of my favorite things to do when I was younger was watch my friends play video games after school, right? Because we all didn't have our PC. Like you would be sitting on the couch watching your buddy play video games, you'd be talking, you have interaction, all that stuff. Literally, streaming allows us to do the same exact thing. We're watching a
Right.
screen and we're able to talk and interact and whatnot again. And I don't know, so then maybe there's some nostalgia there or what, but I don't know. So it was
It's
certainly
funny.
enjoyable, and I bet it's
I'm
enjoyable now.
I'm contractually obligated to mention my wife at least once a stream. That's the only reason that she keeps watching us, or listening to us. So this is a good time to get my Sarah shout out. But I always like whenever she plays. Like she doesn't play video games a lot, but occasionally she will. And every single time, I swear to God, every single time she plays, and it's a one player game, she always asks me, "But like, don't you want to play? Like, isn't it boring to just watch me?" And I'm like, no, like you just don't
No.
understand. Like
Yeah.
that's something we did, right? As
Right.
kids, like you watched it, like other people had turns and you took turns and you watched. And sometimes watching can be just as much fun as
Yeah.
playing.
And
Like Shy mentioned earlier, like seeing how other people approach things. People play even the same game, can play it very differently.
Or like playing games that you like seeing people play games you wouldn't play, like the whole
Yeah.
like horror genre,
yeah,
like or like feeling like you're in it with someone else and not just alone in your room playing.
that's a
I
good
think,
point.
and you guys mentioned like growing up as kids. Like for me, that was a big part of college. Was like we had a bunch of gamers on our hall, and like
Yeah.
someone would get the new like Final Fantasy, and like we would just like for the next couple weeks just like hang out in their room, like in between work on homework or classes, and just like watch them play through like Final Fantasy 10 or something like that. Like I don't know, it was just fun.
Yeah, and I don't think that's just reserved for our generation, because like my daughter loves playing Streets of Rage with me, but lately because I've been playing so much Zelda Breath of the Wild, like every single day she's asking me as soon as she gets home from school, like, "Hey, Daddy, can we play Link? Can we play Link?" She just calls it Link, and I'm like, or can I watch you play Link? Is what she's saying, and she will literally, for a 4-year-old to pay attention to anything for more than 5 minutes is astronomical.
Yeah.
She will sit there for like half hour, 45 minutes, and just watch me play and like tell me
It,
like, oh,
it's
go
a
get that
testament
guy
to
and
how
let's go try to
beautiful
find
that
some
game
bad
is.
people. What?
It's a testament to how beautiful that game is
Oh
and
my
how
god. Oh
cool that
yeah.
game is.
Well, that's a
You
good point
can
too.
just
Like
watch Breath of the Wild.
it is a very beautiful, cartoony, cool,
Yeah,
graphically designed game. So
absolutely.
I can imagine how that would appeal to children as well. So, but no, she loves
I
just
just like
watching me play.
climbing those towers and just like looking at the like panning around and
Yeah.
stuff. Like Breath of the Wild's so good.
Yeah.
All right, so just a quick follow up. So, um, oh no, I think we addressed the questions that I had for that. I mean, I asked the first one, but I think we actually touched on all the other things in there. So unless you guys have anything more on actually stream watching, should we transition to streaming ourselves? Which, granted, all three of us are still pretty new at, still working out the kinks, if you will. But like, what? Let me start with this, even though it's not on our prescribed list. Like, what was it that made you want to do that? I mean, so we've all in the last
Insomnia.
week streamed. Yours was insomnia, but was it any more than that? Like, I mean, what caused you to look at streaming instead of playing more Breath of the Wild or reading a book or reading Ready Player One, which has been your homework on the Focus Target podcast for the last 6 months?
You could stream yourself reading Ready Player One out loud.
There's a market for that, I think.
There's
Story
prob-
time with Van.
There's probably a
That'd be fun.
lawsuit there too. But
I
yeah,
would
I guess I
watch.
could.
Maybe. I don't know. We'd have to look into that.
There's probably a
We'd have to be
copyright
careful.
infringement there too. But
Maybe. I don't know. It's a good question.
it is a good question.
I mean,
I
if
was
you can play a game, could you not read a book?
But
That's
I mean,
fascinating.
I think the question is the game. Like you buy the game to play it, right? You normally
Here
don't
we
buy
go.
a game to watch it, but like you buy a book to read it or to like experience the story, right? I don't.
Yeah.
It's
why
like
am I
we
going
can't
into
play a
this? I
movie,
don't know.
right? And then just share a screen.
Yeah,
Like, that's
Right.
copyright infringed.
Yeah, I guess I can see both ways. Yeah, I mean, you're kind of spoiling the book, but boy, I
What
could
if I
see like a market
paraphrased
for
it?
somebody. I
Guy
don't
goes
know.
on computer, puts on headset. Or something. Like,
I'm gonna tell you the story of Lord of the Rings, right? I'm not gonna read it exactly. I'm just gonna give you my own spin. Keep the copyright
My
lawyers off me.
interpretation.
right.
So these hobbits, right? These short little dudes. No.
Watch what you say there, buddy.
Anyway, all right. So
Jokingly, all right. So the catalyst was insomnia. Actually, no. I think the catalyst was somebody else mentioned this earlier. I can't remember which one of you it was, but I think the new PC is what did it. I wanted to push the limits of the computer and see what I could and could not get away with. So the whole time when I was purchasing this computer, there were always two main categories, if you will, on the company that I used website. There was PC gaming and PC streaming, and the specs were always the same. So I don't know if it was just a purchasing gimmick or whatnot. I went with the gaming one because that's what I wanted. Of course, I selected my specific video card, memory, all that fun stuff. The one notable thing that I did notice is that for the streaming PC, it always had a minimum of 32 gigabytes, and the gaming PC was completely fine with 16 gigabytes. You can watch all the videos on the world you want about that. Supposedly right now, 16 gigabytes is all you ever need for a gamer. But then those who will do video editing, any of that stuff, you certainly want at least 32. More realistically, you could be as crazy as our friend of the podcast, Z, and get 128 gigabytes, which is just, I don't know when he'll ever use that. He can open 1,000 Chrome windows and probably not even breach half of that. So anyways, so I had this computer that could play really awesome games. And then I was like, yeah, let me just push it to the limits. I ended up going with 32 gigabytes of RAM as well. And I was like, who cares? Let's just stream also and see what this is all about. So then when I said, look, I got the hardware to actually do this pretty good quality wise. I know my internet's pretty dang fast. It's at 400 megabits per second right now. So I'm like, I have everything here to do this. Let's just see what it involves. And then I started going down the rabbit hole of learning about all the new programs and different options and all. And then it just became exciting and fun. And now I'm down this big old deep rabbit hole of stuff that I want to play in. So I think that answers the question as to why I got into streaming exactly. And I'm sure we'll talk later about what we do like streaming. So Shai, what about you, sir? Why did you like streaming, or why have you, because both of you talked about this to me outside the podcast beforehand. Both of you were all gung-ho about it, and I wasn't as much. And it kind of seems like the tables have turned a little bit here.
I guess so. I guess I forgot about that because I was gonna say in the immediate it was Van's insomnia, but I tried streaming in the past. I think like back another friend, well, kind of an old friend of the podcast, Rona, had done some streaming back like way back. We were playing 14. We were all playing Final Fantasy 14 again.
Previous guest of the podcast, if you remember, way back.
Man, I don't remember that. I didn't remember we had Rona on.
Yep.
But
early
on. Because he'd kind of like been doing some streaming, and at that time I started looking into it. And I think I did a couple streams on like my own personal account back in the day. I don't remember what I streamed, but yeah, recently Smile and I had been talking about streaming because I talked to him how I was really enjoying War of the Visions and was thinking about like trying to like share some information about that and gameplay, and never really did that. But I think ultimately, like what kind of has me excited about streaming now is kind of like the idea, and I think kind of what Smiley's doing now with his retro streams, where he's kind of like sharing games he's loved that maybe people aren't as familiar with. Like that's kind of what I would like to do, but they won't. This won't be as retro games because I didn't do as much retro gaming. But like one game that I'm really excited to stream when it comes out, and a game that I've talked to you guys about, like I'm super excited about the fact that Ninja Gaiden, like the remakes, are coming to modern consoles because I'm really excited about streaming at least Ninja Gaiden 1. Like I played so much of that game in college, and I think a lot of people aren't familiar with it, especially younger people, and just how difficult it is, and just like a different difficulty than like the modern Souls phenomenon. So I think that's something that's got me kind of jazzed about streaming is playing streaming some games that maybe I would do like a Battle Chasers Night Wars stream because just there's a lot of people out there
Yeah.
don't aren't familiar with that game, and that game
It's a game that
I love
deserves a
that
little bit
game.
of
It
deserves a
does
little bit of a boost. Absolutely.
deserve some love. All the PS5
Shirel's
enhancements for Battle Chasers Night Wars.
So
Shirel's modern gaming corner.
So I want to plug
Yeah.
I want to plug Rona's Twitter handle.
Yeah.
It's at Rona_OR Oscar Romeo, I guess for like the state of Oregon. So at Rona_OR. So Shai, you talked about streaming with your PS5. Are you gonna stream strictly from the console? Or are you planning on getting like a media adapter or?
Yeah, I've been looking at a capture card for a couple weeks now. I don't know, like now that I theoretically have a PS5 on the way, I need to go make sure that's
It's not
the
theoretically.
best one,
It's fact. There is a PS5 on the way.
We'll see. I'll probably
Allegedly,
have
I
updates
guess.
later
Yeah.
today. Like once the site's back up, I'm definitely gonna check out the order details. And I don't know. Like I checked my bank account; it's been charged, so it better be on the way. Yeah, definitely that's my plan is to get a capture card and then stream through OBS because then
That's
I think
awesome.
then I'll have all the features and I'm not gonna be putting stress on my computer.
Yeah.
The console will be doing it all. So that's the plan.
Cool.
Right on. Well, I'll give a plug of my own. So what kind of inspired me is like I said, I was kind of when I'm at work a lot of times I like to have YouTube running in, like on my side screen, just something to kind of half pay attention to, and streams of games actually work really well for that. Like it's not something I really have to pay super much attention to. I can be working, but like especially with a streamer kind of talking in the background, it's kind of a nice like. It's something I would never have really been able to do before working from home basically all the time. And there was one guy whose streams I found on YouTube. His name was Arcus, Arcus.
Arcus
And
Ducks.
not me. The name is the name similarity to Argus is purely coincidental, but I assume I don't know who this guy is, but he was playing. As I said, he was one of the streams I found that had a bunch of like just old school games that I hadn't played in years. He was playing Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. He was playing Dragon Warrior, and I was like, oh man, this is cool. And so I've watched a couple of his streams, and I was like, that kind of inspired me. I was like, man, I could do that. Like I could boot up my old like NES or SNES emulator and run through that. And like I have enjoyed watching, the games he's playing. Like I think that's pretty cool. Like maybe somebody else, maybe there's other people out there who would want to see some stuff like that. So that's kind of what inspired me. And then when Van, I was thinking about it, but I wasn't really actually going to do it because I'm very lazy and I have a million things to do and not nearly enough time to do them on any given day. Especially in hockey season, my time is always being squeezed. But then obviously when you kind of went full speed ahead with the whole streaming thing, I was like, well, if we're gonna do it, like let's do it as a podcast and see if we can get some traction. So yeah, I've got a lot of good stuff planned. Like I've actually got more games to stream than I have time to stream them. Just like I have more games to play. Like I was like, oh, I want to do Mega Man 3. Oh, I want to do Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Oh, I want to do Final Fantasy 4. Like just too many games, not enough time. So all right. Well, so the other thing is other than like obviously for for all of us, streaming has impacted our buying habits as far as peripherals and
Yes.
things to enable us to stream. But as far as like games go, like have you what have you considered like buying games now, or would you consider buying games specifically with an intent to stream them? To say like maybe this is a game that I may or may not have gotten, but I think it would make for a good streaming experience, and therefore I would want to get it. Like that doesn't really apply to me. I'll answer first because again, I have a ton of games that I already own that I want to focus on. But you guys are a little bit more modern. I mean, Shy, I know you already talked about a couple, but I know those were games you're probably going to get anyway.
Hmm.
So, and obviously we haven't been doing this that long, so maybe it's too early to answer that. But just initial thoughts. I'll start with Shy. Um, would you go out and get a game just because you thought, hey, this would be fun to stream more so than actually fun to
Then
play?
play?
Hmm.
No.
Okay. Maybe it's a weird question. Shy or
It is kind of a
Van, what
weird
about you?
question. Yeah.
Kind of a weird question.
No, I think because my philosophy on streaming in general is that it's secondary to what I want to play. And I just
Okay.
figure, hey, if somebody else can get joy out of watching me play this selfish game
Mhm.
that I want to play, I don't care what you want to watch me play. And then I'll just turn on the stream, and then if you like it, great. But
I guess I guess that answers my question better. Maybe a better way to put it would be is what's more important, like is the stream, is it that you want to stream and gaming is something to do on the stream, or is it that you want to game and streaming something you can add to that gaming experience? Van, I think answered that very well
yes,
already.
I that's how I think about it right now. Plus, streaming actually makes me excited to play some of the other games. Like Cyberpunk, I wasn't too excited to play. I've kind of just been waiting for them to patch it to
Hmm.
just polish it off just a little bit more. It's certainly playable on the PC. I've gone a few hours into it and haven't run into any. Well, no, I ran into one game breaking bug, but it it makes me want to start that brand new and then stream a playthrough and say, hey, who wants to
Right.
come along with me for the ride? I think,
Yeah.
but to go back to the other question, like, does the stream ever come first? I don't know. I think in the future there could be a time, right, where if the community was built large enough and you have all these, you make new friends through your stream and whatnot, and they have a specific request of, hey, can you, stream XYZ, or have you heard of this game? Do you want to, would you try it out? Blah, blah, blah. I think at that point I would certainly put the stream in front of my own needs or wants and stream
Mhm.
those for the fans or whatnot in that situation. So I guess it's situational. But right now, certainly just streaming what I got. I don't. I can certainly see in the future how it could be fan serviced. That's the right word.
I'm not sure it is, but
I don't think it is either. I think it means something else that we will go into. Let's look up the
Shy, did you have
definition of fan
any more to add
service.
to that, or no?
Yeah, well, I was gonna say I totally agree with Van's point. What I would say is like I would potentially consider this kind of cheating because it's not really fully committing to the scenario you propose, but I would potentially consider buying a game that I'd beaten and didn't intend on, like maybe I didn't own it anymore. I played like back in the day. Maybe I don't currently
Right.
own it, but I
Okay.
didn't intend on playing it again. But I was like, I liked that game, and it'd be fun to play that on stream. Like I both
Right.
enjoy the game and would like to share it with people. So like Ninja Gaiden wouldn't fit into that because I was going to buy that to replay it. Like I love that game. But like an example might be, they just released that Mass Effect trilogy remaster for
Mhm.
modern consoles, and I don't know that I thought about maybe picking it up because I'd love to play through all three like in sequence,
Sequentially.
but I don't know if I would have. But like thinking about being able to, like kind of what Van was saying, like kind of starting an epic stream, like of playing through all three Mass Effects with like a continual character, like that could be kind of cool. And like that maybe that's a game that I would consider picking up to like for that purpose, both to experience it and share it.
All right,
All right.
so just for our own knowledge, fan service is material in a work of fiction or in fictional series, which is intentionally added to please the audience. So that's why I said
Nice.
I might do this.
That's
No.
But hold on.
that's the den.
But hold on.
Yeah.
Comma, often sexual in nature. So we'll
Yeah.
just leave off the second part of it.
Yeah. I was gonna say there's usually maybe a connotation there that's not coming through on the definition, but that's all right. All right, fellas. Well, that's basically all I had on this. Did you guys have any other questions or topics you want to talk about stream related before we wrap up today?
Could you see yourself quitting and becoming a full-time streamer?
Shy, you go
Shy.
first.
Like, all right, this is completely hypothetical. Like, if
Yeah,
there was
super
like you
hypothetical.
broke out, you built an audience, like, is that
Yep,
like
got a community, people
would that be
love
like a
you.
fulfilling job? Like, is that kind of the
Yeah, that's what
idea?
I
Or
mean. Like,
like,
can't get enough of you. Could you see yourself? You know what? Cool. I will make playing video games my job. And what do you possibly see bad or good coming from that?
I don't think I could. Like, I think that it could be fun. I think that when I do watch streamers, sometimes they talk about how it is a job, and then to a certain extent, how they have lost. Like, not that they've lost enjoyment of the games they play, but maybe to a certain extent, like maybe it's not as fun because like now it's their job. And I think I would be afraid of that, and also just the risk, the idea that like how long term is that? Like, I'm not a person who
Yeah,
takes
right,
risks, and like in 10 years is streaming going to be dead, or like
right.
will be a whole new medium that I can't adapt to? Is it going to be VR streaming? And I'm like, I'm an old man, I don't know
Like,
how
do
to
you
do
put
this,
do you put
like
Twitch
um
partner on your resume? You know what I mean? Or Twitch affiliate on your resume?
like your next job, and they're like, well, you spent the last 10 years building skills that don't apply, so good luck.
Right.
But
Yeah, uh, I just don't think so for me. Um, you know, I don't know whether it comes out or not since I'm the host of the podcast, but I'm actually kind of an introvert. I'm very much
He's
an
all,
introvert.
I actually hate you
Y-
guys.
yeah, I love you
I don't know
guys,
if it
and
comes out on the
I love doing the
podcast.
podcast. But like, I can't. I would never want a job where my livelihood was tied to being forced to
Your
interact with
personality.
people all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, my winning personality. I don't know. No, it just doesn't seem like a recipe for success. I think for one, it is very mercurial, right? Like, you just don't know how things can change so fast. Like your popularity, like, you may be popular for a half minute, but that doesn't mean you'll be popular tomorrow. There's a lot, I
Bam,
feel like, coming
canceled.
down, even late. You say the wrong thing, you're gone. But additionally, just like the way things have been lately, it seems like streamers especially have been targeted from like copyright perspective. I mean, it may not be legal to
Yeah.
play games on stream in 6 months from now. You just don't know. So yeah, I definitely agree with Shy that I would not, and especially too, I have a family, I have a child on the way. I have wife, I have a dogs, two dogs. Like, they need Papa to be bringing home the bacon, not rolling the dice on the favors of the internet. And I also really agree with what Shy said. And I've believed this for a long time. My wife actually asked me a lot, like, do I ever wish I'd gotten into making video games or things like that, since I work on my own RPG so frequently. She's like, why didn't you do that as a career and get paid for it? And it was because, well, then it's not labor of love as much anymore, right? Then it's an 8-hour day commitment. It's a job.
Yeah,
And
bosses. Yeah.
the nice thing about my RPG is when I get tired of working on it, I don't have to anymore. And I think that definitely is a factor for me, that like, right now it's fun to stream and boot up some old games, and like, it'd be cool to get some people in there to interact with, yeah, who maybe share an interest in that. But if it was a obligation, it might not be as fun. So what about you though, Van? Like, I feel like, of the three of us, you have kind of the personality of a streamer. So would you, if you had the opportunity to make it big as a full-time guy, would you consider quitting your job and being a streamer?
Yeah, I thought about that too, and I think along with what you two are saying, I don't think I would. And only reason is I don't know if I could play video games for 8 hours again, like I used to. And granted, that's not really what streamers are doing anymore anyway. Like, they're doing
Right.
nice 3-4 hour chunks, and that's not a big deal. That's certainly easy to do. And in fact, I've been watching like a lot of the research videos on streaming. They're like, don't do the 8 hour thing. It's not like a thing anymore. Most people aren't doing
Right.
it. Like, you get burned out so quickly and all that stuff. So I don't know. Maybe if there was like a 3 or 4 hour a day thing, and it just blew up and everybody loved seeing us and all that fun stuff and interaction, I probably could see it happening. But then again, like, quitting my job that I love now, that I feel like I'm financially compensated appropriately for, to take a risk on this, and I'm not really a risky person. Um,
Yeah.
I think ultimately that's just a long, confusing way of saying no. I agree with you too. I don't think I would.
I mean, to your point though, I mean, it'd be awesome. I think the ideal world, maybe for all three of us, is that
mhm.
we don't have to quit our jobs, but we could still do kind of like, it'd be an awesome part-time gig, right?
Yeah,
Get on every night, go for 2-3 hours,
that would okay.
get some
There's the
fans,
perfect.
have some fun.
Now you're speaking. Now you're
Yeah,
speaking my language, man. Now you're singing me a good song. Like, if we can keep our jobs and stream, like 5 nights a week, 4 nights a week for 2 to 3 hours each. Like,
I
oh,
love that.
that'd be amazing. That'd be amazing. We would do a D&D campaign one night. We
Oh,
would do
man.
like Deep Rock one night. We would do, oh dude, it
That
would just
is
be
something we
incredible.
should really seriously consider, is to do
D&D,
a stream D&D campaign.
Yeah, we could
Because
put the
that's
board in the fourth
that's
window down here or something. Like, it'd be so easy to stream it conveniently for our viewers. Yeah.
we're really gonna have to make time for that. Anyway, all right, that was a great question, Van. I'm glad you asked it. That was a perfect kind of way to wrap this up. You guys have anything else?
Nope.
All right. Well, listen, if you've been with us this long, then you know that we have contact information at the end of the show. And in case you don't have it memorized, I'm going to give it to you right now. We are obviously on Twitch live right now, twitch.tv/Focus Target Podcast. This stream that we are just about to complete, as well as the individual streams that each of us are doing and will do, can be found on our YouTube page. That's Focus Target Podcast on YouTube. We have an email if you'd like to chat with us directly, focustargetpodcast@gmail.com. And as Van mentioned earlier, we're trying to get our Twitter handle a little bit more active at Focus Target. Van's going to be trying to post some links to PS5 availability news. So keep an eye on that. If you're still looking for a PS5, we'll try to put that out there, see if we can get it for ourselves, get it for some of you, because the only people we don't really want getting PS5s are the bots and the scalpers. So
I want to make an announcement that our followership, the people following us, has increased by 25% just in the last week.
So 3 to 4 or 4 to 5?
4 to 5.
Okay, awesome.
Nice.
I think, is that 25 or 20%?
That might have been me. I shouldn't say that live.
But yeah, so be the sixth, be number 6. You get in early, get in on the ground level. You can say you were here before we got big. That's the hipster thing to do these days. So, well, thanks for joining us today. It was fun to talk about streaming, a little bit of a meta conversation. Season 3, episode 81 of the Focus Target Podcast is in the books. Thanks as always for being with us. We'll see you next time or in between on the streams. Here's your host, Smiley.
Shy.
And I'm Van. As always, cover us, Porkins. We're out.